Welcome to our next class. We will look at usability and accessibility. We are still at the surface page, plain, but throughout the development process it is important to think about usability and accessibility because it will be integrated into actually all of the planes. Usability is pretty much just being considerate of the user. Is it easy to use and understand? Can they understand what they are looking at? Can they understand how to use it? Pretty much applies to almost anything, but specifically to websites and mobile devices. One definition of usability: when you can conveniently use a product or service and it meets your needs. The Wikipedia definition is the ease of use and learnability of a human-made object, meaning software, website, book, tool, machine, process, or anything that we would interact with. Notice that they are including the term learnability. All right, a technical definition: the extent to which a product can be used by specified users to achieve specified goals with effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction. So we are talking about specified users achieving specified goals. That takes us back to the very beginning, which is why it is so important to identify your goals and your users, because everything ultimately goes back to that. The Norman Nielsen Group says that usability is a quality attribute that assesses how easy user interfaces are to use. Pretty much everything we interact with is some kind of a user interface, be it a website, a mobile device, or the control panel on a car. Let's look at some principles that this organization has put forth. Learnability: how easy is it for users to accomplish these tasks for the first time? How easy is it to figure out? Efficiency: once they have learned it, how quickly can they actually use it? Memorability: when they return back to the product, how easily can they remember what they were doing, how to do it? Errors: how many errors might a person make and how severe might these errors be? And satisfaction has to do with pleasantness. This is where the user experience is starting to come in. We want it to be a good experience. All right, so let's take a look at some principles. The visibility of system status, always making sure the user is informed about what's going on. Next, matching between system and real world. Speaking the user's language, using words, phrases, and concepts familiar to the user. Here again, back to the user. Consistency and standards. Making sure that the terminology and the other artifacts that we use are consistent and relatively meaningful. Giving the user control and freedom in the event that they need to back up or escape. And if there is an error, how quickly can we recover from it? Back to errors. It's better to prevent it from occurring in the first place, but we always need a fallback also. Making sure that recognizing objects, actions is important rather than just remembering. They should be meaningful when we see them. Flexibility and efficiency. allows us to carry out tasks more quickly. Aesthetics and a minimalistic design. Making sure that everything we use is pleasant and relevant. Providing some kind of help and documentation based on the situation. All right, in addition to these general guidelines for usability that we have been looking at throughout the years, we are adding some. Is it satisfying? Is it helpful? Is it rewarding? Here's where the experience comes in. This is the Apple experience. Making sure that we really enjoy using that product. It's just not that the product works and it suits our needs. We really find something satisfying and rewarding and helpful by using it. Okay, usability. When things work right, they create a feeling of goodwill toward the organization. And by goodwill, we mean some kind of a persuasion toward them, an emotion, credibility. We look at this as being a legitimate agency, trust. We seem to trust that agency. All right, so to increase goodwill toward an organization, knowing what people want and making it obvious and easy. Making the important information known, not hiding it. Making the process easy. And anticipating needs. For example, frequently asked questions, printable pages. Here we see some examples, very common on the internet today, where we have these ways of telling the organization that we have goodwill toward them, that we trust them, that we like them, that we're happy. Reviews, feedback, Facebook likes, tweets, etc. If the product isn't usable, it will diminish goodwill. For example, hiding information. You're going to a website and you can't find the price. You're filling out a form and you need to think about how to format. They don't tell you how to format, and you format something and it tells you it's wrong. All right, on and on and on, too much information or too much hype. These things just diminish goodwill. This is actually a screenshot from healthcare.gov from October 2013. And that was a very serious situation. A lot of people had a lot of problems because there was not enough user testing. Here's another example. We might have problems with products. Does it diminish goodwill? Well, yes it does, but here again, the company can do something, can improve their product, can put it back on, can compensate the user. If we think way back when with the BP fiasco in the Gulf, BP is back up there as a very good company right now. But they really took a lot of criticism way back when. They restored goodwill to the user. Why is usability important, especially on the web? If a website is difficult to use, we're going to leave it. If the home page clearly states what the company offers and what the users can do, we're going to leave. If we get lost, we will leave. If the information is hard to read or doesn't have answer our questions, we will leave. The first law of e-commerce, if that's applicable, if you cannot find the product, you can't buy it. Making it easy for us to find what we're looking for and to purchase it. The Norman Nielsen Group talks about usability and utility. Utility is whether it provides the features you need, all right? Usability is it easy or pleasant to understand? Usefulness is pretty much the combination of the two. Something can be easy and pleasant to use, but if it doesn't provide the features we need, it's pretty much useless. And then again, if something provides the features we need, but it's really hard to use, that's not very useful. So now we're looking at this concept of usefulness with respect to usability and utility. So these are some things that we need to think about when we develop our applications, develop our products. Accessibility is a part of usability. Accessibility is the degree to which a product, device, service, environment is available to as many people as possible. So now we're looking at the user. Is this product available to the user based on user needs? Accessibility usually is associated with people with disabilities or special needs, people who use assistive technology such as screen readers or certain kind of devices because they have manual dexterity issues. You might hear the term universal design, and universal design is one step ahead of universal accessibility. It means making things accessible to everyone, regardless of whether they have a disability. And if we incorporate universal design into our products, it will be accessible. Because maybe I don't have a motor difficulty, but it just might so happen that I recently sprained my wrist. Maybe I lost my glasses and I'm having difficulty seeing. People get older and they have visual problems. It doesn't mean they're disabled. So universal design, making things accessible to everyone with respect to how we build our product. This is more pertinent to text-based material, therefore web and brochures. Back to accessibility, there are 4 main areas: visual, blindness, low vision, color blindness; hearing, you don't need to be deaf, just hard of hearing; motor difficulties and learning disabilities, easily distracted, inability to remember or focus on large amounts of information. So by keeping this in mind and developing applications with this universal design in mind, we will be catering to people also who meet these requirements. There's actually a law, Section 508 of the Americans with Disability Act, that talks about web-based requirements for any type of electronic information that is produced by a federal organization. And that includes schools, because schools are federally funded. We also have Web Content Accessibility Guidelines and the Web Accessibility Initiative. These are good URLs to check out to learn more about how to make your products accessible. Some very basics with respect to web. The alt attribute on an image element to provide a text alternative for screen readers. Using headings, lists, titles, and structural elements. They provide meaning instruction. They can also facilitate navigation. They are used frequently by programs that read back pages. When it comes to tables, using TH and captions to describe the relationship between the table elements. In forms, making sure you have labels. Hyperlinks, the text should make sense. They also should be accessible using tabs and enter keys, and of course you want to make sure that they do work. Media should be captioned or transcripts provided, and actually YouTube does caption my videos although I need to go back in and edit them because YouTube sometimes makes mistakes. All right, don't rely on color alone to convey meaning. Meaning should be there without added visual effects. Clearly written content, we've been looking at that. Clear fonts. It should be readable without a style sheet in the event that that doesn't load. And tables should never be used with layout. This is web-based information here. So here we're looking at these screen readers who help visually impaired people to understand what's going on in the website. And you can actually simulate. There are programs that will simulate what that's like for them so you can test. This is from Microsoft Word, but all word processors have this, where we actually can code in, for example, the alt text for our image here, because all electronic information needs to be accessible, not only web pages. Here's another example in Microsoft Word where we can check for accessibility. When you're converting to a PDF, you can structure it for accessibility. There are some accessibility testing tools on the internet, on Blackboard.